I love the guy. I love the guy. But
he'll win.
Some of his political takes are a bit yikesy. I don't agree with a lot of his political takes. Whenever we did have a conversation, I think the farthest I got with him was he agreed with me, and I convinced him that Ben Shapiro was not that smart. Alright, time to look at the debate between JonTron and Acheeto. Now,
oh my god.
Some of you may not know. I know who Acheeto is. Me and Acheeto have spoken before. Okay.
Why is he debating JonTron? Why not Vosh? We all hate Acheeto. So wait, why is JonTron debating Acheeto? Why not fucking Vosh?
He's not. What the fuck?
Oh, oops, sorry. JonTron's based.
Xanderhal is debating Acheeto.
Yeah, but I'm saying, oh, what the fuck am I talking about then? Sorry.
Why is Xanderhal? What?
Okay,
that's
so
like the weirdest
please,
connection.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, please shut the fuck up. Okay, so what's happening here is fucking Xanderhal is gonna be debating Acheeto. Now, some of you may not know. I know who Acheeto is. Acheeto knows who I am. Okay? And conversely, okay, I know what it's like to talk of politics with Acheeto.
Acheeto's gonna win.
I love the guy. I love the guy. But
he'll win.
Some of his political takes are a bit yikesy. I don't agree with a lot of his political takes. Whenever we did have a conversation, I think the farthest I got with him was he agreed with me, and I convinced him that Ben Shapiro was not that smart. But other than that,
he says he's a
Acheeto.
I don't know if that's
he's not a centrist. He's fucking libertarian, right? Acheeto.
Oh, that's cringe. Fuck
I know what it's like to talk politics with Acheeto. He unironically has the take, fucking taxation is theft, which I want to talk to him about that take too. But
property is theft.
Labor's theft.
Okay.
So I know what it's like to debate Acheeto. By the way, when I was talking politics with Acheeto, Acheeto said, "quote You sound like you talk like Destiny or some shit like that." That was the funniest fucking thing. But so I know what it's like to talk politics with Acheeto. I'm very interested to see where they go with this.
You bastard! You're just a Destiny clone. How dare you?
No, I'm literally the person. I'm literally Destiny 2. Okay, I literally am the exact same person.
Destiny 2, the video game.
Yes.
Shut up.
Oh, yeah. That's a little mean.
All right, we're taking a look at Xanderhal versus Acheeto.
I think, I don't know, libertarianism.
Anyway,
libertarian socialism is also
Please shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
I can't hear a single goddamn thing.
Sorry.
So.
I gotta change Windows. I'm sorry about that. Here you go.
To the chat.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of your chat probably won't like me, but that's fine. My name is Acheeto. I make commentary videos on YouTube. And a lot of you probably won't like me. And
let's get Dingo in here. Yeah.
Pretty big.
Sorry, gotta cut back to this. Sorry about that. Got distracted for a little bit. We're gonna be watching the debate. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not very into politics. I mean, not in terms of YouTube. Like, I like watching political videos. I wouldn't say that I'm like very right or left leaning. I know on Discord. I actually looked it up because my Discord profile picture is a John Doyle right now.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out. Yeah, we know about John Doyle here.
And I realized that you probably have a strong hatred for that guy, which is fair.
I don't really hate him. I don't think I care about John Doyle enough to hate him.
That's fair. Yeah, I actually don't really, believe it or not, have like a strong like political affiliation. Like I used, because I honestly like I'm very very open to like a lot of different opinions. Like I used to watch, a lot of Destiny on Twitch, but then I just kind of stopped being interested. So I just kind of like I'm more into politics for like an entertainment aspect, at least on YouTube, because I'm here to watch and get entertained rather than to like learn, because learning is cringe. So I like to funny stuff or whatever.
Why the fuck are you here?
It's interesting that I'm interested,
I find it very funny. Hold up, I'm gonna DM Acheeto real quick.
I think Acheeto's he makes okay videos.
I think he does. Oh, what is wrong with you?
What do you mean? I watch his videos from time to time.
Boring as hell.
Alright, I like Acheeto, but yeah, okay,
Anyway,
here we go.
I don't know how much time I have, but actually, first of all, is there a way that I can like see your chat? Because like I'm looking on YouTube, it's like not showing.
Yeah, I actually have like a website, my own custom website, where I embed my YouTube stream. It's got a custom chat with custom emotes and its own whole thing. If you want to see that, you can just go to
Don't care.
xanderhal.com/live, and you can make an account if you want, but you can also just look at it. And it's also on the side of the screen. I encourage people watching on Twitch and YouTube to come over to the website as much as possible. But I imagine you want to talk about the.
I think why this website is cringe. It's gay and cringe and Jewish.
The JonTron video that I made yesterday.
That's a little
yeah.
mean.
So basically, like I wanted to make a video about because I am interested in cancel culture. I wouldn't say that JonTron got canceled from that, but...
No, okay, JonTron said some stupid shit. All right, if you're okay, here's the thing.
JonTron's a fucking idiot.
If you have a problem with people calling people out for stupid shit, that's not cancel culture, right? Cancel culture, I'd say, would be like whenever you have an unprecedented backlash. It's like, as I define it, it's populism without a catalyst, right? It's literally just a bunch of people enacting what they see to be fit, right?
People rising up against the power they seem bad.
Right, yeah. So I don't know if this would really fall under cancel culture. I don't think nobody's like stopping watching JonTron. No one's trying to deplatform JonTron. At least no one relevant. Okay, I'm sure you can find like some. I feel like you can find some fuck on fucking Twitter.com who would probably say, "Oh yeah, we're going to deplatform JonTron." I don't think anyone wants to do that.
No one's doing that. People are just saying he's a fucking idiot.
People are just saying you're fucking stupid. What you're saying is dumb. It's really fucking dumb. Please shut the fuck up.
But that's not cancelable.
That's not cancel culture. That's not cancel culture.
But you definitely
we will not be able to get through this whole video if I don't speed it up.
Twitter,
Hold up.
Which kind of bothers me. Because the way that you framed it in your video, let me just pull this up right here. Yeah, so like I watched it because I actually didn't. I heard about what happened. I don't know if you know who Omni is. He's like Keemstar, but he's black, and he even does like news videos.
I know.
Probably not the best thing.
Omni is Keemstar, but black.
Like a short explanation.
Not something good to say on stream.
Your title is like JonTron is anti-vax, whatever, and like you were kind of like very critical of him in the video.
And he deserves to be critiqued, in my opinion. But sure.
What I understand is, did he like explicitly say like, oh, like do not get the vaccine or I'm not vaccinated or anything like that? Like I'm just curious.
So. Anti-vax narratives are pretty complicated to track. If you remember back in the day, like go back 5 years ago, and like anti-vaxxer cringe Facebook memes were like the #1 thing to make fun of, right? And it was always this unhinged shit. Like the vaccines have insert evil chemical that'll kill you in it, or it makes you autistic, so on and so on. And those topics are still going around. But
no, okay. Stop the video. All right. What happens when you get the vaccine? It does not make you autistic, all right? Actually, what happens whenever you get the vaccine is if you already have autism, you get autism too, all right? So everybody has, by default, they have autism,
it's like the Bible too.
Yeah, they have autism, all right? You have autism, everybody has autism, all right? But if you get the vaccine, you get the upgraded autism. You get autism 2.0, right? If you get the new COVID vaccine, you get autism 3.0, right? It's like a leveling system, all right? And you have to get the vaccine to level up. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. Please, YouTube, don't take that down. Don't take that down for misinformation. Please stop.
Please take it down.
But that's actually what happens. Yes, unironically, no joke, no meme.
No, you're being serious.
No joke, no scam.
Videos from 2016 and conservative videos now, there's a pretty big difference and like a step up in the way that these topics are discussed, right? Like any left-wing YouTuber now can go back to a 2016 skeptic video and tear it apart, but talking points evolve as like the political climate changes, and nowadays it seems like to be an effective anti-vax advocate, the way that you do it isn't saying don't get vaccinated, yada yada yada. You appeal to people's sense of wanting freedom and self-determination while sowing doubt about the vaccine in their mind, and basically lead them to the same conclusion, but implicating yourself less in the in convincing them to make that choice.
No, this is actually what Xanderhal is saying here is completely it's completely correct. He's 100% on point. So this is what happens a lot of the times whenever people want to push narratives that are generally seen as like bad things, right? So for example, if I want to push an anti-COVID-19 vaccine narrative, now what I don't have to do is explicitly say COVID-19 isn't real, don't get the vaccine. That's not what I have to do. What I can do, however, right, is I can lead you to that conclusion without actually asserting the claim. So, for example, a great example of this is fucking Grade A Under A's video on COVID-19. In the video, he presents things that are technically true, right? These are technically true statements. However, he only presents the information in a misleading way, and he only presents the facts, which would lead you to the conclusion, don't get the vaccine, right? So one of the facts, right, that he presents, right, is if we infect a bunch of people with it, if we infect a set number of people with it, right, there only like a certain amount will die. Now, this is true. It's a true statement
Yeah.
that COVID-19 percentage-wise is not very deadly as far as the people who get it per capita, right? It's not as deadly as something, for example, like the flu. But what he will exclude, the information that he will exclude from that statement is that COVID-19 will spread almost at 3 times the rate that the flu does, and I think about 8 times the rate if we're talking about the Delta variant. And that is a huge difference. There's a huge difference in the amount of people who get infected. So we're not going to be looking at per capita number. We're going to be looking at raw numbers. We want to see how deadly a certain disease is. Now, I can present that first fact, the fact that percentage-wise, not that many people die from COVID-19 per the infected. Right? I cannot present that second fact, and the conclusion that would lead you to is that COVID-19 is not a big deal. But if I were to present all the information, it would have lead to a completely different conclusion. So it's this cherry picking of what evidence that you present, that in a way that people can technically say true things to lead to an untrue conclusion. And that's a big problem. Whenever people will be like, okay, if for example,
infected,
if like.
sure
It's like a really hard thing to do whenever people ask, like, oh, did he explicitly say this? Well, you don't have to explicitly say something, right? You can lead people to that conclusion without explicitly saying it. It's like walking up to the door of a statement, right? Okay. Go back to the video.
A lot of anti-vaxxer types nowadays have been saying, ask your doctor, or do your own research, or do what you think's best for you, which just seems like a very big cop-out way of saying, if you don't want to get vaccinated, or if you think the vaccine causes autism or has little spiders, or there were people saying that there's little like tentacle creatures inside the vaccine. Legitimately, there are people who believe that. It just seems like a less.
Fuck you, Xander. I believe that.
Okay. I mean, like that's probably right. Like, obviously, if you say that, be skeptical, like that's definitely going to play into the people that actually don't want to get vaccinated because they believe.
Acheeto responded with just nothing.
Whatever the fuck you want to say. But first of all, I feel like I should clear this up. Like, I am fully vaccinated. I got Pfizer. I got the double shot. And I just like it just sort of bothered me, like, because I went to the quote retweets, and God knows Twitter, is just shit. But like I go to the quote retweets, I just see everyone just tearing on JonTron, and I know I looked it up, and you've had a history about JonTron or whatever and stuff he said in the past, and I don't want to talk about that because frankly, like I just don't know enough about that. I was like really young when most of that happened, like some debate where he was like someone said he's like a Nazi or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, he's talking about the Destiny debate. So back in if you guys don't know, back in like 2017, fucking JonTron was having some very epic takes on Twitter.com. Some very epic takes.
Yeah.
Right?
He said like
no, I remember the take. Please shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up. I remember the take. So the take was, I don't understand why white people have to allow the change in their demographic. I don't see why white people have to allow that and other countries don't. And what happened was Destiny offered to JonTron to come onto his stream. I was like, okay, let's talk about shit. What happened on that stream is what we like to call a fucking train wreck, a fucking car crash, alright? Goddamn flying through the fucking windshield. Dude, JonTron made some crazy fucking points. He made some crazy shit on that fucking live stream, dude. And he basically outed himself as someone who was not very epic with their political views. Not very epic. And then it's been a downward spiral from there. So Acheeto's talking about that live stream from 3 years ago. I believe Acheeto is 17. So that'd be 3 years ago. Would be he's 15 years old, not 15. 14? That's 14 years old. He'd be 14 years old at the time of that happening. So I guess I can kind of get where Acheeto's coming from, yeah.
Thank God.
I have a question though. What were his takes?
One
of the things he said, unironically, no joke, no meme, no funny. Okay, no, please shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up. Anyways, what he actually said was, I think one of the things he said was, rich blacks commit more crime than poor whites.
Why?
And which is just not true. It's not true. It's just not a true thing. Hi, do you have Sea of Thieves? Do you want to play with me? No. I'm actually a political streamer. It's probably not the best guy you want to come to.
As he is now.
Really?
As big as he was at his peak. It was that debate, like especially for me in particular, was what brought a lot of people in discovering Destiny and moving a lot more left politically. Because JonTron was more or less. So at the time of that debate, I'll contextualize it, and I'm not going to use like this.
Xander's going to contextualize it.
As
Great.
informed about this entire debate and what was talked about and everything. And I don't want to be unfair there, but basically back in 2016, there was this big push where like there was this community on the right on YouTube, like the right dominated YouTube. Everyone from like Sargon of Akkad to like Paul Joseph Watson to Andy Worski, like there was this whole community of like decidedly right-wing content creators criticizing the SJWs as they were, and also being friends and being very close to like left-wing content creators like Chris Reagan and Chewonhead, and you saw this like ambiguity about like, okay, so who's pushing literal like right-wing Nazi propaganda, and who's just like an anti-SJW? They just don't like when crazy like feminists say men bad, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay, so no, what Xanderhal saying again is pretty true here. If you guys don't know, so initially YouTube skepticism started out in like I think 2011, right? The original thing was like it was a bunch of skeptic YouTubers, and they'd all like push back on like on the religious right? That was the thing, right? It's like think like who do we think of? Think Logic, think what is it? The Amazing Atheist, think that kind of crowd, right? That was the skeptic community back in around 2011 to 20, I think, like 14 to 15, something around that. I think Logic came out on the stream in like 2014. So that was the initial like crowd of the anti-SJW people. Now, people like Logic and people like the Amazing Atheist, they tend to be actually fairly left-leaning. From what I've talked, for example, with Logic, he seems to be fairly left-leaning. In a lot of his stances.
Atheist, I'm pretty sure.
The Amazing Atheist is literally like he's very left-leaning.
He's a communist, I'm pretty sure. So yeah.
Yeah. That was the initial like skeptic scene. Now move on to like I think 2015. Where was the I hate feminists the Amazing Atheist video? When did that come out? Hold up. Stupid kid tab. When did that come out? Hold up.
And also being friends.
When did that come out? So then the Amazing Atheist, right? The Amazing Atheist. Feminists. It was the initial video that kind of kicked it off, right? Was a while ago. Yeah, 9 years ago. The Amazing Atheist made a video called Tumblr Feminists. I'm not sure if this is the initial video, but it was around this time, right? So this came out in 2012. So around this time, a little bit afterward, actually, we started to see a shift culturally on YouTube. And the shift was, instead of skeptic YouTubers, instead of them covering crazy right-wingers, right? They started covering the SJW crowd. You know, the fucking colored hair, fucking feminist bullshit, all that. They started covering the crazy fucking feminist crowd. With that came in a bunch of people who also disagree with feminists. So like the right would also disagree with like these crazy feminists because they're just fucking insane. And what they would do is they would use this anti-feminist movement as a way to push right-wing viewpoints. And that's how people like Sargon of Akkad, how people, you know, like again, like fucking Richard Spencer, like that, or what was it? Not Richard Spencer. Who's the other guy? Andy fucking Worski, I think. I don't know. The one guy. Paul Joseph Watson is who I think I'm thinking of, right? Those kind of people. That's how they came to prominence. And they kind of dominated the YouTube space for a while, and they used that to like turn people. It was like a lot of ambiguity towards like who was actually like left leaning and who was right leaning back in that time, and then like the right kind of dominated. That's what he's talking about in this part of the debate.
And we found that like a lot of these figures ended up coming out as being full-on Nazis, or just having a lot of really fucked up things about them. Like I think Shoe Nice was one of those people. If you know he's sort of an old school meme, but if you know about him, his life went really down the rails, and he used to be part of that like anti-SJW crowd, I believe. Andy Worski was also part of that, and the big one was JonTron, because JonTron came on a Destiny's stream and started repeating these talking points that are literally Nazi talking points, like white nationalists, like pro white ethno state, pro like all that kind of shit, talking points. But they'd sort of been repackaged in a way that didn't sound like traditional bigot rhetoric, and Destiny just managed to tear those arguments apart to a degree that surprised a lot of people, and that debate in particular.
Oh yeah, no, dude, fucking, it was a brutal fucking debate. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly suggest you look up Debating JonTron by Destiny. It's fucking internet history at this point, right? It was like this was like the pivot towards like more left-leaning content on YouTube and Twitch. Like that Destiny kind of like what would you call it? Destiny kind of pioneered that.
Kickstarted.
Genre of content. Yep. He fucking tore him apart. It was brutal.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I just like I knew a little bit about that. Obviously, I went at one point probably. I guess because I remember now. Like, I went to like Destiny's channel, and you know, she's sort of my most popular. I think I did see that, but basically, what I guess like when I want to make a video about this, and I still might not, but I just it bothers me because I mean, you could obviously make the argument that, oh yeah, you know, anyone who questions what you know what Fauci is saying, or you know the effectiveness of vaccine, yeah, you know they could be dog whistling or however you want to say, you know, that they have some sort of like underlying motivation that, oh yeah, they're actually anti-vax and this is how they're saying it or whatever. But I don't think that that's fair to say, because from what I looked at, and if there's something I missed, please tell me. But I literally just looked at, you know, a bunch of tweets where he just literally was just memeing and being skeptical of the effectiveness of the vaccine. And I honestly like, I mean, you could say that that's like harmful or whatever. But I don't know if that like just on surface level is like, I mean, maybe I'm just not reading too deep into this, but I just didn't know if it was like that bad at all.
Those tweets themselves, honestly, compared to the last two things that like political dramas that have happened with him, I think are probably the most mild.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
There was a Destiny thing back in like 2017, I think it was, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
more
he's right.
When the election happened, there was the election coverage drama that he got into. He claimed that America was a banana republic and that the election was not legitimate and that Trump had actually won and Biden had stolen the election. He outright said it, that like the election was stolen from Trump. Oh.
Trump is based.
We good?
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, there we go.
What's up?
Weird. Where did I cut out for you?
You said something about I don't even know what just happened. You said something about him saying the election wasn't, or that it was stolen or something.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. My Discord just restarted for some reason.
Oh no, Discord restarted.
Oh, okay, that's what happened. Somebody like gifted something to me on Discord, a Nitro gift, and that crashed my Discord, made it restart. Weird. Anyway. So basically, he started pushing the narrative that like the election had been stolen from Trump on Twitter, and that got him into some drama at the end of last year and beginning of this year. And then he's come out with like the sort of denying the validity of vaccines. And then on top of that, one of the videos he posted had several like basically he posted a video and it was like the
yeah, I saw that. I watched that.
Yeah, and there was like multiple images he showed in there that were just like one of them was an image from an article from 2011.
Yeah, the Japanese kids. I saw that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know if like, and I know your chat. I'm looking at it now. It's like that he's just memeing or whatever, you know, being ironic or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, to an extent, like. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like to an extent you're just looking a little bit too deep into it. Like obviously, yeah, he did kind of just sneak that one in there or whatever, and maybe I don't know if he made the meme or if it's a repost, but like
I doubt he made it.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he did too, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing that he has malice behind this. I don't think most people in the political scene that I think are wrong are motivated by malice. I think that he genuinely believes what he believes, and when you're an ideologue and you believe in something hard enough, it is very easy to fall into the trap of believing the ends justify the means, and regardless of the truthfulness of statements you might make, it's okay because we know we're right, and in the long run it'll be okay. And lefties do this as well. The left does this plenty, and I don't agree with that behavior. And I think that's what JonTron's doing. I think JonTron really does.
The left does engage in like misinformation. It's really fucking cringe. And it's annoying as fuck too, because whenever, for example. This is my problem with like annoying fucking progressives, okay? So I have to fight as somebody. I think I'm a fairly reasonable guy. All right, I think I'm fairly well informed on a lot of topics that I tend to speak on. I think I'm reasonable in that regard, right? I have to fight against these absolute dumb fucks, these absolute insane ideologues who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I have to fight back against that because these people will push things that make our fucking, like, the progressive movement seem fucking stupid. Dude. Holy fuck.
Like, things like what? Things like what? Like, what are some statements you've had to deal with?
One statement that I had to deal with, it was
Alabama!
Shut the hell up. Please shut the fuck up. So one of the things that I heard was somebody... this is one thing. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what your reasoning is. I don't care if you're queer. If you center men romantically in your life, you are actively fighting or you're actively supporting the patriarchy or some bullshit like that. Some people just have no concept of fucking intersectionality. They don't understand that what they're saying actually goes against the movement that they're trying to portray. Another thing that I heard was like some shit like, oh fuck, I'm trying to remember all this shit off the top of my head because it's just a lot of dumb shit statements. One of the things that I actually heard was like fucking. Oh god, fuck. I'm trying to remember it. There was one thread about like how pegging is actually anti, like the like pegging is anti fucking like woman or anti trans man or some bullshit like that because it like regarded like penises as like the penises were fake or some bullshit like I don't fucking know, dude. It's like some of the most insane bullshit you will ever hear on the fucking left. But then like I think the right's like infinitely more harmful in their fucking misinformation. But like the left still engages in it regardless, which makes convincing people incredibly hard.
I have a question. One more question.
Sure. What's up?
Do you think the patriarchy is real?
Probably, to an extent, yeah.
Alright, just curious.
I think there's like, the thing is, I don't like labeling the patriarchy. I like labeling it as like a larger, like a system of oppression that like affects everybody. I don't like the word patriarchy because it kind of implies that it doesn't have like a negative effect on both like men and women to an extent. I don't really know. Like it seems like this is the problem. Certain words tend to like shut people's fucking brains down whenever I talk to them, for example. Like I'll talk to somebody, like for example, I'll talk to like one of my right-leaning friends and I'll talk to them about systemic racism and they'll like agree with me on the like, oh yeah, there seems to be like a very what we call unequal outcomes within the justice system of the United States of America. This tend to be a thing, right? And then the second I say systemic race, like they'll perfectly describe to me systemic racism. And the second I say systemic with racism, though, their brain fucking shuts down. They won't listen to anything else, right? But I don't really care what people call things, right? I care that like more people are like fighting towards a movement. So I'll just be like, okay, I guess I just won't use this word anymore because it seems to like not work for convincing people. Yeah.
Are not as effective as they are, and that they can be harmful. And he's willing to do anything it takes to convince other people of that because he believes it's true, even if it means maybe fibbing a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue though I have is that you're saying like I really don't like I'm just reading in your chat. I don't know if this is like what you're saying, but it's like anti-vax propaganda, or like he's pushing an anti-vax agenda or something. I don't know if that is true. I just think being a skeptic is not propaganda. And obviously, if you want to tie this back to his history, or whatever.
Well, it depends on what. Okay, so here's the problem. Here's my problem with skepticism. All right, skepticism to an extent is good. However, what happens is whenever you engage in skepticism, it's a philosophical concept, right? Whenever you engage in skepticism, what we would call epistemic skepticism, right? You can like infinitely reduce your skepticism, right? You can be skeptical of your own skepticism, even, right? You can this is an infinite reductionist cycle that leads to people not knowing anything, right? So to some extent, skepticism is actually pretty bad. I don't know why people like seem to think skepticism is like an objectively good thing. Like to an extent, it's a good thing, but like whenever you're trying to draw some conspiracies, but they're technically skepticism, it can just lead down really fucking poor conclusions and really stupid paths. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Oh, you're fucking stupid. He's not just being a skeptic. He's obviously pushing whatever the fuck narrative. But like, dude, like to an extent, like from just cut and dry, like just looking at I'm looking at what is this 3 or 4 tweets right here from today. I don't even like legitimately, if I wasn't vaccinated, I wouldn't be like, and I was planning on my vaccination or something, I would be like, oh shit, oh, it's not even effective, I'm not gonna get it. Like, I don't think this is like really telling people or gonna de-incentivize people from getting the vaccine who are considering it. Like, that's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change the fact that he posted it anyway, but the problem is when you're a large figure and you have a big public platform where a lot of people follow you, and of course, it is sort of compounded that he's had many bad and very questionable political takes in the past. When you consider the fact that he has the audience that he has and he's espousing those opinions on that platform, people
is
look
it
up
an
to him.
opinion though? I mean, he's just sort of like, I don't know.
Regardless of whether or not it's an opinion, if you're airing it to a large platform, you are still you are a mouthpiece for that opinion. You are giving credibility to that opinion. Regardless of your credentials, people respect JonTron. People love JonTron. Look at any video I've made about him in the past and look at the comment section. He's got a rabid and very defensive fan base. And I found, and this is what I take the most issue with, honestly, JonTron can be politically the biggest fucking Nazi that there is, as long as the people who continue to watch them are just like, yeah, I don't like his politics, he's just funny, I like to watch him. I'm completely fine with that. The problem is when I responded to JonTron's talking points and his political opinions that I took issue with, the people who were coming into the comments to defend JonTron, and I know this isn't every JonTron fan, were doing exactly what I was accusing JonTron of. For one, they could not stop saying things like the N-word. I know YouTube auto-filters comments with slurs in them automatically from your comment section, but they still notify me of those comments and the little notifications bell thing.
Oh yeah, no, it does. It's base. It's base as hell.
Slurs, like talking about the Jews running the world.
Okay, I swear.
I mean, it's true. Jews do run the world.
Whoa!
Hey, I'm Jewish, so I can say so.
Oh, okay, never mind. We're fine. Anyways, yeah. No, YouTube auto-filters your comments, and I swear to God, I see some of the funniest shit in my notifications box, okay? I want you guys to know that every single comment, even the ones that get auto-filtered, I still see them, okay? I see them. And I see what the dumb shit that you guys write. I see all the weird shit, okay?
Bunk fan fiction.
It's those people that I take the most issue with. I don't want those people to feel empowered because their favorite gamer YouTuber believes in the same things as they do, because that just cements them further in their already crazy beliefs. I don't necessarily believe that some, innocent JonTron fan is going to be corrupted by his anti-vax tweets.
Okay, I guess. Okay, listen. Like the biggest the thing that I don't understand is this I don't. It's like. Sorry, like obviously I wouldn't stutter if I was like a pro debater or whatever the fuck. This is why.
No, it's this low stakes stuff. Don't worry, it's all good.
Yeah,
can someone of my mods ban that person from the YouTube chat?
Because again, like,
wait, who?
Yeah, bro, go to website. Yeah,
give me
that shit.
Wait,
just
who
ban
is
that
it?
bot. It's a bot in the YouTube chat.
Let me find it.
The video thing that he did with the doo-doo-doo, whatever, where he snuck in the 4 Japanese kids or whatever, like that like.
I love kids.
Nice.
Like he has.
Please stop saying retarded shit.
70% effective, 0. It goes in that order or whatever. Like that isn't he always like whoever's meme this was just took a bunch of screenshots, lined them up in that order, and he reposted it. And he's imagine having a single inquiry regarding the science, my dudes. Like I don't understand.
That's
like
second channel.
Like you can be skeptical of anybody on any side ever, right? Like
I don't want to bring this up. Like
Welcome to capitalism,
I'm tempted to bring this up because it's very much a parallel to what JonTron's doing now, but it's far more extreme and far less excusable. Back in 2017, this is actually what caused the Destiny debate. The thing that caused the whole drama was JonTron reposted an image that originates from 4chan, and it's a chart, and the chart argues that rich black people commit crime more than poor white people.
Oh, I remember that.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was.
He defended it vehemently and argued that it was from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. As it turns out, the Bureau of Justice Statistics just doesn't collect the type of data that that chart was alleging. It was completely made up. Not to mention, that chart was made to support the 1350 argument, the idea that black people, despite being 13% of the population, commit 50% of crime, and they must be doing this for some genetic reason.
Making up 13%
of racism in some way. That was an example like this, very similar to this, where in his misinformed and politically motivated stupor, I guess, ended up spreading some misinformation, and that misinformation has some pretty sinister political talking points supporting it.
I mean, yeah, like obviously, because I actually do remember that now. I forget where I remember that from, but yeah, that was pretty cringe. I don't know if that, being brought up as a talk.
I love Acheeto. The way he describes that is cringe. That was pretty cringe.
Research or him being a bad.
Oh, I love Acheeto. I love Acheeto. Acheeto's fucking awesome. I love him.
I love that was cringe.
I think more about what I had a problem with.
Mr. Lad Guy just said a ratio.
Whatever.
Love you, my dude.
Dude, he friended me.
These tweets.
He's trying to like.
Onto
the stream.
And this is what I do, so maybe this is like a bad way of looking at anything. Where I just go to the quote retweets, and I see a bunch of people just mad as fuck, right? And just shitting on this guy, right? And to be fair, like I don't know if he looks at these, he probably doesn't, maybe he does. I feel like for your own mental health, you just probably shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, definitely not. But I do that sometimes because it's kind of like my job to like look at these people and then just like roast them or whatever, critique what they're saying. But I feel like some of what you do or what you said in that video like definitely plays into like what these people like think, like. And I'm not saying you're responsible for that, but like, it's. Where was I? I'm sorry, I didn't come with files on top of files.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think there's a
files on top of files to swing back with.
Because you're saying that when I make these types of videos, where I'm responding to JonTron's tweets and I'm sort of impugning him for some of his behavior, I am lending credence and I'm giving a mouthpiece to similar talking points coming from crazy people that are going after JonTron for reasons that aren't quite as valid, right? This happens all the time. Like going back to the anti-vax thing, there was a very popular left-wing narrative going around for a while that ivermectin was horse paste, horse dewormer. Now, ivermectin in larger doses is prescribed for horses and it is used as a horse dewormer, but in the past, ivermectin has been used for humans, and there are human versions of ivermectin, and they do have effective, and apparently at higher doses, it can also have useful antiviral effects. The problem is, and the reason why there was a lot of strife in the left is you had the people who were correct saying, okay, no, ivermectin is not horse paste. Ivermectin is something that's prescribed for humans. The problem is there is no evidence yet to suggest that ivermectin is an effective treatment for COVID. Not to mention, there are people who are buying horse paste, the actual horse paste ivermectin, because they can't get any of the human version, and they have been taking that, and that's also a problem. And there's just no reason to be taking ivermectin in the first place. There's no evidence that it supports that it's going to work. And then you had people who were saying ivermectin is horse paste. These people are eating horse paste, and they're shitting their guts out, and just spreading that misinformation that could very easily just be emphasized on, or a little more details been added. And there's those people out there, and I argue against those people. I don't like people who take a somewhat correct statement and turn it into a harmful narrative. Like,
oh yeah, no, this is the exact type of thing I was talking about with like misinformation on the left. Yeah,
extra mean or extra abusive towards him that might not be quite as warranted.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I guess like what I also done, and maybe I don't know if like this timeline is wrong or when you did this original live stream, but like on the top of his tweet, he literally says, just be clear, I'm not saying you shouldn't get vaccinated. That is your choice. I'm not saying the vaccine is unsafe. I just want the best for everyone. I'm just concerned that the level of conformity around public discourse has reached dangerous levels. Now you could say this is damage control. You could say that this is whatever, you could say that he's coping. You could say any number of things.
He's coping!
But I just like
I fucking love him. I love
Acheeto.
I love him.
I am vaccinated, right? Because I believe it's effective. I think that getting it is the right decision to make. But he also, I think he just raises a good point here. It's like I'm concerned that the level of conformity around public discourse has reached dangerous levels. Like I totally agree with that, and I think that without a doubt, if we aren't going to raise an eyebrow at like anything ever, like the fact that on the initial release, this vaccine was the cure or whatever, that 100% effective, and then as it turns out now, months and months later, you're gonna need like a third shot. Like
yeah, I mean, from the beginning.
Shut up, pussy. All right, if you need a third shot, get it.
It's been so wild. Like even CNN at one point did, and I generally like to think that like
you know what,
I know that like there's a big talking point, fake news, yada yada.
But I'm gonna kick
generally,
you,
like, big mainstream news outlets typically tend to stick with the truth on most things. Like generally, it doesn't seem they're quite as agenda driven as something like Fox News or OAN would be. But they have published some misinformation about COVID and the vaccines and stuff in the past. But for the most part, at no point was it ever claimed by anybody who was like super powerful the COVID vaccine was 100% effective. No one ever said that we weren't going to need booster shots. I think there was an understanding pretty early on that if everyone didn't get vaccinated and COVID wasn't made essentially unable to spread throughout the population quickly, then there would be a need for booster shots for those already vaccinated. I mean, like and as for the claim that you're worried about public conformity about this, in the past we've done this exact same thing, but there was so much less pushback about it. The Spanish flu was the first time that America had mask mandates, and we eliminated the Spanish flu because people wore their masks, and that didn't just wipe out our colonial America.
I had no idea about that. Is that a real thing?
Was something that was just begged for.
I'll look into that later.
Like it was literally a miracle. The polio vaccine was, because it was such
of course.
And now we basically basically deleted polio. And I understand there's this idea that we shouldn't trust these big, rich, powerful people who control the world, like the country, basically, because they have so much power and money. But at the same time, it's like, we are in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, COVID isn't something that you want to get, and now we have a vaccine for it, and that vaccine has been demonstrated to significantly improve your chances as far as the pandemic goes. And the effects are stronger the more people get vaccinated.
I have to speed this up again.
Vaccinated, see people that won't get vaccinated, and they're annoyed by some of the misinformation, of course. But it's also like you people not getting vaccinated are keeping things shut down and keeping this pandemic prolonged. We want to be outside doing our stuff and not wearing masks as much as you do. You guys are the ones that are continuing to prolong all of this. I want it to be over.
Yeah, no, dude, I like literally. I think I would be, what the fuck am I saying? I'd be willing to bet that you're vaccinated. I got Johnson & Johnson. I got the one-shot green.
What the fuck is that?
I got Pfizer, bro.
I was gonna get Moderna or Pfizer, like get a 2-shot one. I'll probably get like one of the booster shots from them. But there was like an event that we had to go to, or that we wanted to go to, and we had to be vaccinated for it. So we're like, okay, well we gotta do the 1-shot one, and we didn't get COVID and we didn't get sick, so it worked out well.
Yeah. So listen, like just because I think we're agreeing on far more.
Is Johnson & Johnson is 1 shot, right?
Like, I think you should get vaccinated. I just don't think that you should be scrutinized to the level that
Who's
someone is being for like literally. And I'm maybe not saying we're literally just posting skepticism. Like he's not. There are plenty of people who outright just say, oh yeah, just do not get this vaccine or don't, which is obviously fucking stupid. And I think even in the times of like, if we go back to polio, which obviously comparable or not, obviously it's far more deadly. And I think in something like polio, we'd have less time to argue about. Oh well, it's 80%. Everyone would just get the vaccine. But maybe it is the fact that like that this like COVID is just less deadly than like something like polio. That we are like having these like discussions like, oh, this affected us or this or whatever. And I just like here's the thing, like you would probably, I don't want to assume what you would say, but I think that someone like you would assume that JonTron isn't vaccinated. Maybe he said that he isn't vaccinated, but I don't think that you can assume like where he stands just based on like questioning this, because if this was written, like if every tweet that was released was written by someone else besides JonTron, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they were vaccinated, right?
Yeah, I mean, the rhetoric here just kind of worries me because it takes me back to those old, like, 2016 skeptic days where a lot of those people, like, nowadays, like, everybody knows end up being, like, crazy, Andy Worskis and whatnot, where it was always called skepticism, like, what was her name? Like, roaming millennial? Not roaming millennial. I forget what her name was. Rage After Storm, I think her name was a big thing back in the day. She started to popularize the white replacement conspiracy theory a lot on Twitter, and you started to see very left-wing people even supporting the white replacement conspiracy theory, and just calling themselves skeptics and saying they're just being skeptical. They're not going to listen to what the media is telling them. And it takes me back to that, and I remember what happened because of all of that, and it just worries me because JonTron was doing the same thing as that back then. And it just feels like it's a repeat of the past, a thing he's done multiple times in the past.
Do you think, though, if somebody else did everything that JonTron did today, that you would view this like a different way?
I mean, it depends, because JonTron is, doesn't have really the best track record. If like
sure,
someone if that Destiny went on Twitter tomorrow and was like, all right, there are some problems with the vaccine, because there objectively are. There are some cases where the vaccine can be bad for you. It's pretty rare, but there's cases, and said, yes, these are cases that exist, but, yada, yada. I probably wouldn't take as much issue with it, because I'm pretty sure Destiny's most recent video was dunking on anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
He's got a long and storied history of dunking on people who spread that kind of misinformation.
Ask you this,
but I don't have the same faith in JonTron is the thing.
Right, and that, fine. Maybe I just failed to take into account, like, your history with him or whatever, but let me ask you this, though, just based on, like, just remove the JonTron profile picture and name, just based on every tweet that was released, like, let's say that you had no idea who the person was that, like, released them, would you say that these tweets are, like, just the tweets are inherently anti-vax?
I would look at them and I'd be like, I have to admit, I'd probably look at them and say, yeah, the person who tweeted these is probably, like, kind of skating alongside the anti-vaxxer line.
Okay, I mean, because the way you said that there was like, oh, the person, is kind of skating along the anti-vax line is far different to what you said in your video, which is like, JonTron is anti-vax and goes off and whatever, so...
Yeah, I think he probably is like an anti-vaxxer. I mean, you can never know what somebody believes.
Yeah.
I mean, if JonTron was actually an anti-vaxxer, if he was actually an anti-vaxxer, do you think he would be saying it? He got into a shit ton of trouble after his debate with Destiny.
Of course
JonTron's,
not. Of course
JonTron's
not,
learned. If he's an actual anti-vaxxer, the way he would express that would be in the way that
he's doing it now, of course. Right, and I get that. But I'm not, you are definitely right about that. We definitely agree on that, right? Where it's like, yeah, exactly. Like him saying this definitely has a big factor, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's just, the biggest problem I think that I have with this is just like the people just seeing these tweets and some of them looking at it as like a standalone thing. It's like, oh yeah, what you're saying in this is inherently anti-vax, and you said, oh, it's kind of skating along the lines, which is far different than a lot of like what people are saying, which is like, oh shit, this guy's anti-vaxxer, whatever the fuck. Which I don't think that's cool. I don't like that. I don't like the labeling.
I mean, yeah, I get that. Labels can be pretty annoying at times because they can kind of eliminate nuance a lot of the time. It's part of why I've stopped using the label leftist myself, and I just use progressive because it sort of gives a more accurate depiction of my politics. But at the same time, we use labels for a reason, right? When somebody comes out with like some pretty, borderline shit, and they've got a pretty troubled history in regards to political stuff, people are probably going to go ahead and give the label anti-vaxxer because it's evocative. It gives a good idea of what you're talking about here and how severe you believe these accusations to be. As far as like knowing what he actually believes, you can never know what someone actually believes. You have to look at what they say and look at their history to sort of intuit it, because anybody who believes something problematic like anti-vaxxer stuff isn't going to outright say it. Same thing goes for like racism and stuff like that. Most racists online, like if they're a large figure, aren't going to be outright racist because they'll get banned from everything, so they have to dodge it.
Yeah, and again, like I told you, I bounced over politically. I watched Nick Fuentes for a week, and I was like, oh, this guy kind of is like very weird, and I don't like him. I think he's definitely hiding a lot of stuff.
You see him eat his boogers?
Did he do that?
Yeah, he ate his boogers multiple times on stream. Then one time he was picking his nose, eating his boogers, and his nose started to bleed because he was really digging. I call him Booger Nick because of that. He also recently, I don't want to turn this into like an anti-Nick Fuentes thing, but he recently went on a big
I don't
tirade.
like him.
Neither do I, frankly. He went on a big tirade about how the age of consent is a feminist construct as well.
Did he actually?
Yeah, you can look it up. Nick Fuentes on the age of consent. You can look it up on YouTube.
That's so funny. I wouldn't put it past him though.
Yeah, his whole chat was spamming Vosh moment, which is kind of cope. But,
He will not be treaded on. He will not be.
Yeah, don't tread on my rights to fuck a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to go over?
Well, I guess like the big thing that I want to understand though is that because again, like I don't know if I am gonna make this video. I only got like 3 minutes into it, and I'm like really tired. But like I guess like the JonTron is like. Can I ask you that? Do you think like was that more when you put that in your title? Was that because that is what you like objectively like believe, or is that like just for like CTR or like because you thought it was gonna be like a good title?
Well, I didn't title the video. My editor did, but I don't
Okay.
really disagree with the titling, so I'll stand by it regardless.
Do you think that it's like a little bit defaming though? Like a little bit?
To defame? I mean, to defame would be to allege something like that with no
What the
evidence.
fuck
I feel like the evidence of
are they talking
JonTron's
about?
past
What the
doings and the association with the arguments he was making now, which are directly correlated to arguments made by like people we know are anti-vaxxers. Like watch any like Candace Owens segment. Candace Owens has come out fully against vaccines. Watch any Candace Owens segment. She'll say the exact same thing JonTron did because you kind of have to skirt around TOS to express that opinion without catching the hammer.
I just that's fair, and you're right about that. Like that's just the truth about how like that people behave that way. But I just like because this is something that I could probably I probably wouldn't tweet out because like I said, like I'm vaccinated. Like I don't really like care too much about like that, like the vaccine updates and like the new patch notes or whatever. I don't really care. But because I just kind of like I'm done with that. But like I feel like if I was to say like let's say like oh it turned out this vaccine was only like 40% effective or whatever like if I just tweeted that like and I had some person make a video on me just like with the title Acheeto anti-vax tweet, like dude, like that's pretty lame. I don't know.
I mean, it would depend, right? Like if you're just doing like an update video and like, hey, it turns out the COVID vaccine is only 40% effective.
Like if I dropped the
40%
tweet,
still isn't bad, but
yeah, no,
like,
of course it's not, right? Like if I dropped the tweet that John did and then someone did about me, I'd be very pissed because it's just like it's not accurate. Obviously, I think with someone and I'm sure that you could say, well, it's very different with John, and it probably is because maybe he is just saying this because he can't say don't get vaccinated or else he'll get banned. But I feel like to say that like what he did was inherently like right wing or that it was like anti-vaccine, it's just like not true. Like.
I mean, we can't know what he believes. You can just kind of go. You have to go off of what
exactly.
he says. But
think about it, right? Yeah, but I mean, that's my whole point. Is that you can't know what he believes.
Well, no, you can't. No one can read another person's mind. Like you have to understand, when in this day and age, especially with cancel culture being a big part of it, people who believe things that aren't quite as politically accepted don't ever come out and outright say it, because when they do, they end up being ostracized to the darkest depths of the internet, right? Like your Nick Fuentes is. Nick Fuentes has been banned off of fucking DLive, right? When you believe in these types of things, like the anti-vax stuff, is most of these platforms consider medical misinformation, or like in like racist stuff, you can't just outright say it. You'll get in so much trouble. So modern day supporters of these ideas have learned to bury it in anonymity and ambiguity. I apologize, with like dog whistles and whatnot. And I know it's really annoying if you're like from the outside looking in, you're not super politically left leaning, you're not super woke. It looks really worrying because like fuck, now people are just gonna look at like a joke that I make or something that I say off color that's like a gaffe or something and try to interpret that and twist that and me being this or that or that. I don't genuinely believe those things. I completely understand that worry because I've experienced it. I'm a very outspoken left-wing YouTuber, and I get canceled by the left all of the time for the dumbest fucking shit. I know that feeling, and I hate it. But I think it's a force of nature. As long as there's young people on the internet who are fiending for as much drama as possible, regardless of their political affiliations, that type of thing is going to happen.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
Like a general responsibility.
That's my main problem with like dog whistling talking points is like people just turn whatever the fuck into it. I think I'm gonna like watch maybe a little bit more of this video, and then I'm gonna have to like move off of it because I don't really have much else to say. It's a big nothing burger, to be honest. I was kind of expecting. I think the problem with this video is Acheeto doesn't know enough to argue against Xanderhal. He just doesn't. Okay, I love Acheeto. Acheeto, if you see this, we're still good. We're still cool. I still like you. But dude, Acheeto is not politically informed to the same extent someone like Xanderhal is. And I think you'd have to be pretty stupid to disagree with that, to be honest. Xanderhal literally makes political content. He's a political commentator. Obviously, he's going to be more informed than a commentary YouTuber. So he doesn't really have any of the knowledge to like push back on the things. And then in addition to that, I don't think Acheeto is a really good debater. I don't think he knows how to like properly word his talking points or to like even seem like he's still being contentious in the situation where somebody like someone makes a statement he's not 100% sure about, right? So like for example, if someone makes a statement I'm not sure about, I'll be like, I'm not so sure about that. I think I'm gonna have to look into that later, right? And we'll just move on from the topic. But like someone like Acheeto would just be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right, or something like that. Which I think is it's a problem whenever you don't argue enough on the internet. You'll run into that issue quite a lot. Another what happens when a debate is just being knowing like how to like carry yourself, and I don't think Acheeto has that. And so I don't really think he could ever push back on Xanderhal. I think that Xanderhal could be saying the stupidest shit like in the fucking world, right? He could be running his mouth on the stupidest fucking talking points ever, and Acheeto still wouldn't be able to push back on it. It's not because Acheeto's stupid, it's because this is what Xanderhal does. This is his job, alright? But yeah, alright, that was an interesting video.